is such a beautiful part of the human experience to be able to dream and to set goals for ourselves. It is incredibly satisfying to work towards achieving those goals and living out those dreams. We have worked hard for years now, planning and preparing to set out on our Great Loop adventure. But now we find ourselves very close to our departure date, and we are scrambling to finish all of our last-minute projects so we can cast the lines and head out in just a few short days. Well, this morning we are doing some of the last-minute checks on our anchor. We have all the chain pulled out of the anchor locker, laying it out. We're going to double check all of our 10-foot marks. And then I have a section of rope that we're going to tie on the end of the anchor chain and secure it in the anchor locker, so that should the anchor ever foul and we need to spill out all the chain, we can hack this rope and cut her free so it doesn't take the boat down with it. So that's today's project. So looking down in the anchor locker, that is the hook that would secure the end of the anchor rod to the boat. And it comes up out of the anchor locker, through the windlass, and then out the chain roller in the front. So our thought is, on the very end of the chain, that we would get this rope dropped down, tied into the hook in the front of the boat again, so that in an emergency we were to spill out all of our anchor chain and we needed to get rid of it, we can cut a rope. And we'll keep a knife in the anchor locker, but it's going to be a lot easier to cut a rope in an emergency than to try and cut through that chain. Look at how much room we have in our gigantic chain locker. That might be Kathy's she shed on the boat from now on. So Kathy was able to get an anchor knot on there. We're not real happy with the performance of this rope, but it will do the trick and it will hold. So Andromeda crew's first attempt at an anchor knot, successful. This is Andromeda's crew's first attempt at a chain to rope splice. Not too bad. We got the two strands around the anchor, did the splice, melted the ends into the rope, and again, should anything go south and we pay out all of our ankle rod for any kind of reason, we can chop this rope and we just feel a little bit better about it. Well, we're a little sad that the summer season is coming to an end. It's always one of our favorites in our home port of Ludington, but it's great and exciting because we are about to embark on a wonderful voyage, and it's also great in Ludington this time of year because all the loopers come through. So for years we've noticed the flags and didn't really realize that late August and September was the time of year until we started researching the loop for us, and now we're putting it all together. And just on our dock alone, using Nebo, it looks like we've got quite a few loopers here with us. We got Indigo Seas, Summer Breeze, Independence, over here we have Long Gone 2. On the dock across from us we have Raven, Queen Mary, Navigator is down there in the distance. I think right across from me is Port G. But it is truly a great time of year in Ludington for the loopers. It is a beautiful mid-September morning from the bridge of the Andromeda. Just looking at our Nebo app. It's a great time of year, as just about every few days another group of loopers comes through. And today we're looking at about 10 in the marina. So over there on the wall we got beachside, Gemini's here. I believe this is take 5 next to us. Over there is Raven and See No Evil. I think across the fairway is Frost Free. And I think over there up in the corner is Two Harbors and Undescribed. And that's what I see on Nebo. But I think down here at the beginning of A-Dock and over on the wall there's a couple more that aren't reporting on Nebo. So Nebo says we got 10 loopers here in just this marina today, but I'm counting about 12 or 13 Great Loop flags. So cool time of year as different groups of loopers come through and we get to meet the different groups, and we're excited to pull out of here soon and join one of those groups. So kind of a fun day for us today. We are putting some new lettering on Andromeda. We kind of liked the way that the trawlers came in and they all seem to have a nameplate on the side. Andromeda's not really set up for that, but we want to get a smaller name on each side. We figured we'd put a new one on the back. We are keeping the constellation design and the name and everything. It was from the old owner, it was important to them. We've kind of grown to love it, and we're keeping the same theme, but we're sort of updating it a little bit, sort of a little special treat for us for our trip. This area here is about the cleanest, flattest spot we could find on both sides, so we're going to get Andromeda's name put on the side there. Here's the finished product. I absolutely love it. I think it turned out great. Should be easier to see, a little more updated. It's not going to be completely visible once Mr. Furley is back on the swim platform, but it really looks nice. Here's the shot of the side lettering. Subtle, looks good, matches the back, kind of blends in with the other lettering as far as scale. Here's the port side, looks good. Again, scale wise, not too overpowering. Did a really nice job. One more thing off the list and we are excited to get going. Just a couple weeks from leaving and trying to get our new Starlink connected. We're going to try and get that running. That seems to be the standard nowadays with all the loopers. This beautiful boat next to us, Coconuts, just pulled in. They're on the loop, so they're our neighbor for a day or two, and that's their Starlink. And Kathy is out on the bow. We're trying to come up with a way to take some of the pressure off our windlass while we're underway, so we're coming up with some different ways to tie it off. Well, it is one of the last weekends at the dock with all of our friends down here, so some good times, good summer. It's just been a beautiful fall weekend, but we have to get our Starlink installed. We want to get it up on the roof, get it mounted, get it hooked up. It's just a big one we need to get off the list. And there's a football game on today at 1 that we want to watch, so Sunday morning we are going to try and get this thing installed so we can watch a little football and spend some time with our friends before they go home for the weekend and pull their boat for the season. Our Starlink came with this bracket, which is made to set out on a picnic table or anywhere. It's a good bracket. It worked for us when we were testing on the dock, but we found this mount online. It's specifically for the Starlink. We're going to mount this up on the roof and then install our Starlink into that mount. So that's what we're getting ready to do this morning. Well, I am up here on the roof of Andromeda, and there's a look at our radar. Here's where we decided to mount the Starlink, and we measured to make sure that the Starlink dish would miss the radius when the radar spins. So I'm gonna mount this to the deck with some screws and cover the bottom of it with 5200 and hold it down there. Then we will get our dish mounted on and run the wires through the hardtop. Alright, so we had good success. The Starlink dish is mounted on the roof. We brought the wires down into these panels, across the light, into the old speaker hole. There were some access panels on the side. We fished it all the way through the side wall, came out this cupboard through that access hole, and we will keep our router back in that corner. And we have done some checks and we're getting good internet, so now it's time to clean up everything and tidy up a bit. Well, we got the router tucked neatly in there, and I just went and checked everywhere in the boat and we got good signal. We were fortunate to have an old 110 plug from a fridge, and the cord is just the right length, so we're taping that back so nobody bumps it, and we're going to call that one a success.
Awesome.
We are down to the last few days of prepping, 2 weeks or so from taking off, and we're just sort of going through our lists and trying to get certain things stowed away, making sure we have this, that, and the other thing. Exciting time, a little bit of a hectic time. But one of the things we've been working on and finally got the last few pieces is our ditch bags. We feel we wanted to have a ditch bag aft in the boat so we could exit from the rear. And we got to thinking about it. Should something bad happen in the middle of the night and we had to pop out the forward hatch up in the front stateroom and we couldn't get to the back of the boat to grab our ditch bag, we thought it wouldn't hurt to have sort of a mini ditch bag up front with a couple of life jackets just in case we had to exit quickly in the middle of the night. Might be overkill, but we thought it through and it's something we wanted to do for us. So we're going to go through and show you exactly how we put together our ditch bags and everything we have in it. Maybe it'll help you out if you're throwing together a ditch bag on your boat.
I think Bob's doing this to test me to make sure I know what all the stuff is in the ditch bag, but this is our ditch bag. It's big, but we've tried a couple of the other smaller ones that are the waterproof bags, but what we liked about this one is you'll see it really compresses down and it floats. We've got our life jackets. And in our life jackets, the main ones we use, we do have in this zipper pouch, PLB. See, he's testing me to make sure I know how to do it. And then that needs to stay up, and then we push the red button while we're floating, and then this would give somebody signal to where we were. And that goes, each of our life jackets have one of those. All right. In the aft of the boat, we have the VHF radio that we would grab with the ditch bag that's located back here. In the master stateroom, we did get another one, so if we did have to escape out the top, we would just grab the one in the front, and we've got one for each side of the boat, so we feel like that's overkill maybe, but if we really needed it, we'd rather have it. Flare kit, emergency kit, flare gun. Pretty standard. Came all together, so this will go in the ditch bag. We've got the first aid kit. So first aid kit's in. Pretty standard distress flag. Safety light glow sticks. Snap and go. So we've got a foldable bucket. Just in any time we needed to transport water, haul water, bail water. For emergency rations, we we debated about this, but we did get the ones that would last basically forever, 10 years or something. They're going to taste horrible, but they will sustain us. We have some emergency drinking water. We have our dog Ollie on board, so we do have food, sanitizer wipes, lots of uses for those. Sunscreen, we did find the 100. This is just a rolled up bag of waterproof Ziploc bags. There's some zip ties in there of different sizes. We've got some rubber bands. We've got two thermal survival blankets. Multi-tools. We have these all over the boat. Never know when you'll need it. A couple of ponchos. Each of us have these glorious water shoes. A couple of sunglasses. Sponge. Marine horn. Rope, tow rope, anything. This is a waterproof strobe light with batteries in a Ziploc to stay dry. Here's a Ziploc bag with a extra set of batteries for our VHF. This has rechargeable batteries in it, but this is, if we're truly in trouble, an extra set. Keep us going. Never have too much duct tape, waterproof. In this waterproof bag that we'll have sealed up, this is a solar phone charger. Storage communication. This is my Aldi's waterproof box that we have little stuff in. Waterproof Sharpie phone case, a waterproof flashlight with batteries, and a whistle that has a compass on it. Also reads the temperature. We have two laminated sheets. I can't show you, but it's our passport copy, our social security cards, and our driver's license. So we have proof of who we are. Putting the last box in. And then I'll show you how this seals up. This is kind of what sold us on this bag. Is you can roll it. Get all the air out. Also, all these zipper pouches too, which we thought was nice. That's stuffed. And these are adjustable. So this is our ditch bag, ready to go, easy to grab. So it's packed and ready. The last thing we're going to do is attach with zip ties this on the very front of it, so we're ready to go with reminders of grab your cell phone, VHF radio, wallets, clothes, and hats, if we have time, and send the distress signal from the boat. So there we go. Ready to go in case of an emergency. Where we have the aft ditch bag. We haven't sealed this one up yet. We were still adding the dye kits. But we have one for the dinghy, and also right now we're keeping our emergency bilge pump. And our life jackets are up there when we're driving. So they're quick and ready to go. Perfect. Like butter.
We're trying to get out of Dodge here in less than 2 weeks, and we are still back to this window bracket idea, but we're lucky that a fab shop here close to town was able to make these up. I'm pretty excited about them because they made it right off my template, and we're going to mount them to the ceiling and then pre-tension the window so it holds it out, and try and mount them out there like that to keep the pressure out on this window. And if they hold good enough, we may end up removing these. Not quite sure yet, so we're gonna get these installed and see how they work out. That worked pretty good. That window is tensioned out that way, so we're going to put one more on this side. Well, that worked excellent. That window is tensioned out that way. Finally glad to be done, even though it's a few days before we leave, but it is done. We are getting ready to install our Samson post on the front of our boat by the windlass. And the purpose of this mount is to add another line that we can tie back on our anchor and take some of the pressure off the windlass. There is only a flimsy little metal stop that came with the boat at the windlass to stop the chain, and we wanted something a little more substantial. So this is a nice looking Samson post. Came with a backing plate, and we're going to head up to the bow and get that installed. So you can see on our windlass there is this chain stop here, but upon further inspection it's not very strong. It does allow us to take the pressure off the windlass so that all of the weight of that anchor is held by this chain stop right here. So what we want to do is probably get this mounted next to the windlass here, maybe this way, we're not sure yet, but that will allow us to grab a hook or tie a line from there to that post to really take some of that weight off the anchor roller, and to have something a little more reliable than maybe this to hold the anchor in place. So we're going to drill some holes.
How's that make you feel?
I hate drilling holes. We have successfully drilled 4 holes in the boat. There's nothing more I hate than doing that, but the holes are drilled. Everything down below is clear. So we will mount the post, drop these large stainless steel bolts in. We're getting some 5200 to seal the hole. We'll get that backing plate over there on the bottom side and tighten her down real good, and should be good to go. All installed, looking good. We got the anchor tied off with some extra line. I'm gonna get a line and cut it to the right length, but works good and looks good, and that's what we wanted.
Show them your shorts. Tell them about the 5200.
So, as usual, anytime we touch 5200, I get it all over myself, so the streak continues. Next to our Maritron display, we had an old opening that we covered with a blank cover plate. I believe it was an external speaker for the VHF up at the helm that we removed. Didn't work real well, and we just got a matching cover plate to cover the hole. So we are going to put this audible alarm and this cover plate from Maritron in that opening, and then wire the audible alarm to the display screen, so that again, if the battery bank drops below a certain percentage or any parameter on there that we'd like to set, we will hear an audible alarm throughout the boat. It has a couple lights that flash, and we're going to get that installed right now. there is not an opening here. This was a cover plate just to cover this wire hole. So I think we're going to need a little bit more cutting than we thought. Bad news. We have the hole cut, and now we have 16-foot of NEMA 2000 cable we have to get from the speaker hole opening down into the engine room. So we're about to fish some wires through the boat. Always one of our favorite things to do. We found the hole in the floor where Ben brought the wires down from the batteries to the inverter, and we're bringing the NEMA 2000 cable down through that to the backbone that he created so that we can add on to that. You can see I've got the drop cable and the adapter wired onto the existing backbone. There is the finished alarm. It's got a little baffle on it that you can increase and decrease for some kind of volume, but we'll just leave it the way it is. And we're going to test the alarm just to make sure it makes noise. That's it. We got it. Trying to figure out what to bring and not bring. And they are predicting 11-foot waves.
Bittersweet. It's really weird to leave the house, leave our friends, leave our family. It's emotional.
It's tough. And we'll be ready to hit it come sun up tomorrow.